Hi, everyone. It's Sandy Holderhouse, your rec center dietitian, and we are going to cover 5 different episodes during National Nutrition Month on our theme, Fuel for the Future. I've chosen a theme of Future 50 foods. So foods that can help sustain us in our planet over the next several years as our population continues to grow. Currently, we're at about 8 billion people on the planet, but by 2050, the expected population is 10 billion people. So selecting foods that can help sustain us, grow in difficult areas will all be very important for our future. So to this end, a German company, Knorr, in partnership with the World Wildlife Foundation and the Center for Public Health Nutrition, came up with criteria for choosing these 50 future foods. And I'll just go through those criteria here for you. They had to be plant-based and affordable. Nothing against animal foods. We just know that they require cropland for growing food for them. Plus, they also require a lot of water. So water was one of the resources that they were looking at in the criteria here. The foods also have to be nutrient dense, increasing 15 key nutrients in the diet and decreasing saturated fat, sodium, and added sugar that we don't need as much of. They also had to have a low environmental impact. So low greenhouse gas emissions, decreased land use. So either decreasing land use by being able to rotate crops or by getting higher yields, or even going to using water or water areas to grow some of these foods, or desert areas as well. They also had to be acceptable in culture and flavor. So they looked at the areas where these foods were currently being used. Did the population accept them? Did they use them as ingredients to flavor other foods? And could these foods also be grown in different areas where the climate was similar? They also needed to deliver nutrients from diverse food groups. So carbohydrates from your grains and your cereals, protein from beans and legumes, and vital nutrients, minerals, vitamins, and antioxidants from our vegetables. So let's go ahead and get started with our cereals and grains. So here pictured on this page, if you start with the upper right corner there, I have buckwheat, amaranth, millet, which you commonly see in birdseed. We also have corazon wheat, which has a trade name of kamut, and also quinoa up here, a grain that's become popular for its high amounts of protein over the years. So let's just start with buckwheat. Buckwheat is a short season crop, so you can grow multiple crops in a season, a good weather season. It matures in just 8 to 12 weeks. It is not related to wheat, so it's actually gluten-free. And it's commonly used in Russia and Eastern Europe as a grain dish instead of rice, or added to stews, potato dishes, vegetables, and meat. And moving on to amaranth here, it's a smaller grain, a smaller seed. It's fiber-rich grain that can be prepared as a rice, or it can also be popped like popcorn. In Asia and Africa, its leaves are eaten as leafy greens, and it was first cultivated in Mexico by the Aztecs and Incas, and it's high in magnesium and protein. And moving down to millet, it was first cultivated in the mountain ranges from Uganda to Ethiopia. Millet has a high natural resistance to insects, leading to higher yields, and is a good source of fiber and thiamine. Corazon wheat is grown in 40 countries and can grow without the use of pesticides or fertilizers. commonly known by its trademark name, Kamut, that's K-A-M-U-T. The kernels are twice the size as regular wheat. Coarsen wheat is high in fiber and rich in magnesium and selenium. And then upper left corner there, we have quinoa, which you've probably heard of more recently, again, as it's becoming more popular. It can tolerate harsh growing conditions, little fertilization, and only needs about 3 to 4 inches of rain annually. There are actually over 3,000 varieties, but a few are the most popular. So you might hear of white, red, or black quinoa varieties. Farmers are being encouraged to plant other varieties of quinoa to maintain the diversity of the plant. Quinoa is a complete protein containing all 9 of the essential amino acids. And here's a list of the 9 cereals and grains that were placed onto the 50 future foods list. And here on this page, we're going to go over spelt, teff, and wild rice. So spelt is an ancient form of wheat, and its thick outer husk helps protect it from damage and predators. It is a good source of fiber, iron, magnesium, and zinc. Moving on to teff, it's a staple grain in Ethiopia, but it's now grown also in Europe and North America due to its super grain status as a good source of iron, calcium, magnesium, manganese, and phosphorus. Teff can grow in both drought and waterlogged soils, and teff is most commonly made into a porridge or ground into flour. Wild rice is not actually in the rice family, but it's a semi-aquatic grass that grows wild in North America lakes and rivers. Due to it not being widely cultivated, the price is rather high, so it's often mixed with brown or white rice. Wild rice is higher in protein, zinc, and iron than white rice, and is usually boiled and added to salads, soups, and vegetables. Wild rice can also be popped. So I did want to give a few recipes, and the one I'm talking about here today is the fonio grain. I do have the link to my Pinterest page here, but don't worry about that. I will have the link to my main Pinterest page that is easier to get to, or in the rec center, you can find cards at different locations that will have my Pinterest page on it as well, if you just want to locate a card or ask at the front desk. So fonio is cultivated in Africa and dates back to ancient Egypt. It's drought tolerant and grows in sandy or acidic soils. And it's noted for being very easy to cook. It's gluten-free and contains iron, magnesium, and zinc. The fonio pilaf, shown here, contains onions, garlic, chickpeas, corn kernels, and peanuts, and they combine with the cooked fonio grain and some spices. So lots of great recipes you can make with these grains. And I've got on my Pinterest page a recipe or information on each of the 50 future foods that I'm featuring in these episodes. And again, there's my Pinterest page listed there. The name of my Pinterest site is Exploring Healthy Foods and Diets. So I want to thank you for joining today. And I hope you will join us again for our next episode when we talk about beans, legumes, and sprouts.